Pandemonium Reigns.
Yo, welcome. Pandemonium Reigns. Up in your ears, up in your business, in your speakers. Excited again to be back with you. This makes 3 episodes this week. What is happening? You turn to the latter pages of Scripture, and the end times are here because Pandemonium Reigns dropping another episode. Glad to have my boyfriend back. Man.
My man.
My man.
End times indeed.
I'm telling you. I flew solo, and I did a little better than I thought. But, man, I needed you in my ears. I needed you.
You know, those solos, they're awkward, man. They are awkward. It is nothing like being on here with your boy.
I'm telling you. Hey, we got some exciting stuff coming down the pipe for the podcast. And before we get started, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been with us since the beginning, who's rode the pandemonium. And I just want to say I appreciate it. Seriously. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Thank you for telling everybody. It's always cool when we get a text saying, you know, enjoyed the episode, whatever. Just it's weird. Like, we're podcasters. It's what we do.
It is weird. And yes, thank you so much to anyone that's tuning in for the first time, or if you've been with us since our first podcast over a year ago. I mean, thank you so much. It's therapeutic for us, and we hope you really enjoy it.
Yes. So real quick, before we begin, I want to invite our listeners, come hang out with me on Sunday night. I'm going to start streaming some NCAA 14 action. I'm going to start a franchise. Words. That's a Madden phrase. What am I doing? I'm going to start a dynasty with Tennessee, assuming that Josh Heupel was hired in 2015, taking over for a junior Josh Dobbs, that would be a sophomore Jalen Hurd, sophomore Alvin Kamara, guys like Jalen Reeves-Maybin and Cam Sutton. I'm excited. It's excited to play it. So come hang out with me. We'll be live. Drop your comments, drop your questions. Let's talk ball. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about what took place in week 1, how the Utes took it to the Gators. And but just hang out with me. This will be Sunday night, probably around 8:00. I'll post more, when I have a better idea, I'll post on the social medias. But come hang out with us on the YouTube channel. So anyway, man, week 1 is here. It's upon us. The Lord is good. He's good.
Yes, he is. He provides.
Yes.
He provides.
Yes. He does provideth. Jehovah Jireh. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap into week 1, and we're going to be, here's the promise from us at Pandemonium Reigns. We're going to be a little more diligent in our game selection as we go into each week. It's so easy just to talk about all of them, right? I mean, it's so much fun, so easy. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games here that we're going to talk about, and these are going to be tough because some of these that we don't know about. And at the time that our voices have reached your ears, Florida and Utah is over, and just praying at this moment, Utes on top.
Oh, let them rise. Since Cam cannot, do his job, let him rise, man.
I see what you did there.
That was so bad. So bad.
No. Backup quarterback for Utah. Is that the guy?
It sounds like there's 2 or 3 guys now, just to be clear. But
no, the guy.
The guy.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't believe it's Jaquindon Jackson. That's what you're getting at. He's actually a running back for them. Did you know this?
I did not. I just know that his name is Jaquindon.
And that's the greatest name. Speaking of a dynasty on NCAA football, he was my dude for so long when I was at Texas. He stayed at Texas. He never left. He was probably a multiple Heisman winner because he was awesome on the game. But yeah, he's a running back for Utah. Now, apparently they like their backup or their third string guy because he can run around in ways that I probably did with Jaquindon Jackson on the game. So, I don't think they're too pleased that the word got out about Cam Rising probably not being able to go tonight. before this reaches your ears. But I think they like their options behind him, even though they don't have their QB1.
Probably. Jaquindon's going to be a baller. You know how I know? There's a great word that rhymes with his name.
What is it? I don't know it.
It's Hendon.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
Hendon Hooker. Anyway.
Yeah.
Jaquindon Hooker. Okay, sorry. All right, let's dive into this. So let's go ahead and knock Tennessee off the board. All right, let's just talk Tennessee, Virginia. The spread is UT minus 28. And my goodness, we've already touched on this just a little bit earlier in the week. Man, I don't
28.
That's such a large number.
Such
a large number. Just real quick, man, are they going to cover?
The way I see it playing out is that Tennessee plays a game similar to their Orange Bowl performance, and you take away a team like Clemson and their pieces that they have, and I think that's good enough to cover because I really worry about Virginia in every position. I mean, their defensive line, their front is their best position, arguably, returning, and they have their best pass rusher not available for this game due to a freak injury in camp. So I think Tennessee covers, man. It's weird to say that Tennessee is too potent for a team so soon, depending on, just where we've been. Obviously, last year Tennessee was potent, but I think Tennessee's too potent for this team. I think the running game could honestly cover this 28-point spread, this 4-touchdown spread, and I think that the team will be good enough to do so with some improvements in other areas, maybe despite a drop-off at other positions, to cover 4 touchdowns, which is so wild.
Yeah. When's the last time we've seen a 28-point spread against another Power 5 school? I mean, have we seen it?
Not named Vanderbilt, let's say that.
I mean, was it even 28 at Vanderbilt last year?
I doubt it, but that's probably your only game that was. Now, cover your ears if you need to. Tennessee was a massive favorite in Columbia, South Carolina last year. Massive. I think north of 3 touchdowns favorite in Columbia, South Carolina last year. We all know the outcome.
Yeah.
But against the Power 5 opponent, I mean, it's been ages since this has been the case. And it's just not even that common. So, yeah, I mean, this is what you might see in those years where, Alabama played a Virginia Tech or someone like that. If they did that again or something like that, or, that's what it would take, honestly, for a 4-touchdown spread with 2 Power 5 teams involved.
Yeah. Yeah. Real quick, just on the South Carolina thing, every time this comes up, it seems like somebody's mentioned, they ran out of fireworks, right? Oh gosh, you know why they ran out of fireworks? Because they were scoring 14 points all season. So of course they ran out of fireworks. They were like, well, we're not gonna score. So of course they did. You know who doesn't run out of fireworks when we score 60 plus? Neyland Stadium. Moving on. So let me throw something at you. I love to listen to Eric Kane and Locked On Vols. He was thrown a question, and I don't remember all of the options, but let me just make up some options for you real quick. Tell me the most likely outcome or the most likely option. Option number 1, Joe throws 3 touchdowns. Option number 2, 200 rushing yards as a unit.
Okay.
Option number 3, 3 sacks from the defense.
My goodness. It's tough because all 3, to an extent, feel very doable. I mean, Joe threw 3 touchdowns against Clemson. Let's be real. But I think the most likely is that option B, that 200 rushing, because Clemson loses a tackler who was on pace to shatter records there. I don't know, man. I just don't like many matchups for them. And of course, we've had times where we felt this way, and maybe Tennessee didn't cover or lost the game for lack of better outcomes. But I think the most likely of those 3 are the 200 rushing, because the unit there has just gotten so much stronger. They seem laser focused. They are arguably the deepest on the offense. I don't think that's even arguable. I mean, the receivers go 7 or 8 deep, but they're only going to play 3. So or at a certain point, they're only going to play 3. So I think it's that option B. What about yourself?
I really like the opportunity to get 3 sacks. Virginia's offensive line is depleted, and I like how we blitz the star position. Well, we blitz. I mean, what replays in my mind is Wesley Walker blowing up Keaton Slovis right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I really like that option. Really like that option. As a Tennessee fan, what are you really hoping to see come Saturday?
I think it's just the pace in which Joe makes decisions. If he takes off and runs, I think that's a great thing as long as he takes care of himself, because that's been the missing thing for me is, early on there was design runs for him at Tennessee. Of course, he held on to it for a long time at other times, but I want to see him just making the correct decision within a reasonable amount of time, because I think his accuracy is better. I think he throws it across the middle of the field. Great. Forget about the deep ball and how far he can throw it. I think he throws it across the middle to guys like Ramel Keaton, who he's got extreme chemistry with. But I want to see the timing I want to see it coming together in his head and us seeing that on the field, whether it's him taking off or hitting the guy on time, which, again, he did a better job of last year when he was in. But those are the things I want to see consistently leading up to Gainesville ultimately.
Okay. For me, it's just a little bit different. I want to see how well we tackle in the open field. I want to see, can we create pressure with 4? I want to see what kind of push we get on the offensive line when the ball's on the ground, right? Stuff like that, especially with Cooper being out. I say that because I'll never forget opening night 2011, Tennessee, Montana, and we can't run. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm just using it as an example. But those are the things that I want to see. And teams like Virginia and Austin Peay, these are the things that you need to be doing.
Certainly,
right?
certainly.
So stuff like that. And of course, I'm in full agreement with everything you said on Joe. All right, does UT cover?
Yeah, I think they do, man. I think Tennessee gets into the low 50s. I would like to see. If there's ever been a time to cough the dogs, I want it to be in this game. It's Virginia's first game back from just a tragedy that shouldn't ever happen.
Yeah.
If there's ever a time that the dogs get called off, do it here. Take your time snapping the ball. Let that thing run down around 10 seconds. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that Tennessee covers because I do think the defense will improve at least some. And I think this is just a really bad opponent. One of the worst Power 5 opponents out there.
Okay. I'm going to say we don't cover. It's just a big spread. It's a really big spread. And I just don't like it for game 1. If it was game 2, if we were opening with Austin Peay and then playing in Virginia, there's just a big jump between game 1 and game 2. Won't be surprised if we do cover. Will not be surprised.
Yeah.
With just for pure schematic reasons, I think that we're able to do it. However, maybe there's a little bit of Vol battered syndrome in me. For the sake of picking, I'll say no, but will not be surprised if we do.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Let's move over to the Midwest and let's talk TCU, Colorado. TCU minus 20.5. Did you see before we tap into this? And I don't know how much content we got here. Did you see Deion Sanders' latest media press conference deal? Did you see this?
I'm not so sure that I did now.
Reporter, she refers to herself as a Miami Hurricane and says that Deion is a Knoll, and he denies it. Oh, okay, no. And he says, I thought it was where you graduated from, referring to him being an HBCU graduate. What do you think about that?
That's one of those interesting things. He's really deliberate to me. On one hand, he will make a big deal out of anything. There's definitely that. But to me, he's really deliberate when he gets so specific and when he really leans into something. So I almost wonder if he feels like he should have that job now, regardless of Norvell's season last year. I wonder if that's where he's at from a headspace. It's just really interesting to me, though, because, I'd call him an NFL. You know what I mean? A Knoll for life. That's what I'd call him. But
see what you did there.
I just don't know, man. I don't know what to make of that. Because some of the other times when he makes a big deal out of something, it's like, bro, why? Just take a chill pill.
Sure. Yeah. Did you see Danny Cannell's response to this?
No, I certainly didn't.
All right. So I'm going to side with Danny Cannell here. So Danny Cannell is also a Florida State graduate. And if I can find his words real quick, I'm not going to be able to do it. Oh, yeah, here it is. Danny Cannell. Wow. The lack of respect for the school that gave him his start is wild. The same school that retired his jersey. the same school that let him be Prime. There is a way to handle this question, and this ain't it. Coach Prime responds with, oh my gosh, stupid ads. He says, my man, ain't nobody, let me be me. I was him and still is. Your jersey only get retired if you're a dog and one of the greatest ever, and I was. Ain't nobody give me nothing. I took it and earned it. Stay out of grown folks' business. You have no idea what it is. The blah, 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 the truth makes me want to show more. What? Okay. Nonsense, sounds like to me.
Yeah, to me too.
I side with Danny Cannell a little bit. You know what? If you can even take out the part where Danny said the school that gave you a start. Let's just stick with the school that retired your jersey. I don't know why you have to totally dismiss Florida State in this conversation. Yeah, man, I'm proud to have been under Bobby Bowden and Florida State, but I really also consider myself, an HBCU. Why can't you just go that route?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't understand. Anyway,
I wonder if the one other thing that popped in my mind is, when he stole, my name draws the blanks now, Travis Hunter, when he stole Travis Hunter away from Florida State, I wonder if there was some intel that he gathered from, what they told Travis, Florida State, that is. I just wonder. I mean, there's a lot of variables here. The sport is actually brutal, even though these coaches get out there and they hug and they kiss on the 50-yard line, they shake hands, and, I just love you. He just does such a good job. It's a brutal sport. Yeah. So I really wonder what Florida State might be saying about him, in circles like those, anti-recruiting circles. For sure.
Well, I'm very excited for TCU Colorado.
Same.
My initial thought at minus 20.5 in TCU's favor, I thought it was a little high. As I've sat on it, I think I'm coming to terms with it.
Yeah.
Don't totally hate it. Not sure what to comment. Like, we don't know who Shedeur Sanders is at this level. We don't know much about TCU quarterback. We know that he was a starter last year, right? Before he got hurt. Duggan comes in, makes a Heisman run. TCU loss of Quentin Johnston.
A couple running backs.
Yes, but they gained Trey Sanders in the portal. They've gained some other big names in the portal. Just don't know. I just don't know. However, what I do know is Colorado was bad. Quite a bit of roster turnover. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're still bad. I just don't know if they're going to be that much improved.
There you go.
In an off season in game one. So
yeah,
I'll take TCU to cover.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. And there's just, I know that Colorado did their very best to flip every position in literally less than a year. In one coaching carousel, they tried to do the same thing with their roster. Mm-hmm. I just don't know how much you can do that. A lot of those names weren't your huge impact guys. I mean, yeah, sure, they bring Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders and all the fun that we've seen from them. But I'm with you, man. I think I trust the establishment of someone like Sonny Dykes and a team that was so tough last year in TCU. And again, having a guy that they've started before that has starts under his belt at Power 5 level over a guy like Shedeur Sanders, who should be really fun to watch. But
yes,
I think I'm going to go with the Horned Frogs to cover that 20.5.
It is noteworthy that TCU doesn't have offense coordinator Bryles anymore. I mean, obviously,
Lincoln or Riley. I'm sorry, young Riley. Right?
Oh yes, Riley. I was Bryles. Yep. This is why we're bros. So noteworthy there, but I'm going to take TCU to cover it. And did you say that TCU is going to cover as well?
Yeah, I've got that as well.
Okay, so you and I are sticking by both our original predictions when we talked through Colorado. All right. UNC Southern Kakalaki. All right.
Oh, man.
Drake May, Spencer Rattler, Battle of the Carolinas, powder blue, baby blue, garnet, black, disastrous crap.
Under Armour.
In the quarterback battle, I like Drake May.
Oh yeah.
Overall roster, I like South Carolina. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Juice Wells is ready to go. That's big for for the Cax. This 2.5 point favorite in the towards the Tar Heels. I don't know what to think of this. What say you? Where's your head? Yeah, right. That's the way I feel.
And I can see a lot of outcomes in this game, but I think the only one that would actually surprise me would be if South Carolina won the game kind of decidedly by, let's say 10 or 14 or more, or they just controlled the game the whole time. Yeah, they've done more than I think they should have under Beamer for 2 years, but there's also been 2 early season first 6 or 8 games where it's just what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? I can't put more on their finish last season than on that for me. I'm worried about, if I'm going to worry about South Carolina, it's going to be in the early season is when I'm going to worry about them.
Fair enough.
I'm totally with you. I couldn't trust Drake May any more than I already do over Spencer Rattler. I'm sorry. And that's kind of contradictory when you look at Tennessee's quarterback being a guy like Joe Milton. I mean, it's a little contradictory, but I think if I haven't harped about it on here, I've harped about it to every single person that I know that this conversation's come up. How do you fire your buddy if you're Shane Beamer and hire a retread, currently was a tight ends coach in the SC West at Arkansas, Dowell Loggins? How do you hire that guy as your offense coordinator? I mean, go make a splash and make me buy the stock is what I want you to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't want them to succeed at all, but
right.
I'm not a believer in that move. So I'm going to go with NC to cover and win the game. Okay. I think they will win it by at least 3, cover that 2.5 spread. I do think this should be a barn burner. Now, South Carolina, here's the thing. Yeah, it's a new guy, another new coordinator for Rattler to deal with. If they can't score points on the way that North Carolina's defense has been, they're going to have big problems. I mean, like maybe struggling to find bowl eligibility problems. Like those could be the problems that they have if they can't score on North Carolina with the shape that they've been in. But again, I'm trusting Mac Brown, Drake May. They've always had weapons there for him to throw to. I'm just going to ride with that a little bit more than how the level of trust I put in Carolina so early.
That's good enough for me. I like that. So Phil Longo is out at North Carolina. He's now in Wisconsin. He loved to put the ball in the air. Now the offense coordinator in North Carolina is Chip Lindsey, who has a little bit more of a balanced approach, which might favor the defensive side for the Tar Heels.
Mm-hmm.
I like Drake May. He can make all the professional throws.
Mm-hmm.
So can Spencer Rattler. We know that. that.
But will he, honestly?
What Spencer Rattler are we going to get? Are we going to get the Tennessee Clemson Spencer Rattler? I mean, he didn't play the same as he did against us as opposed to Notre Dame in that bowl.
No. Oh, no.
Almost irrelevant in referencing that. You know what? You've convinced me. I'll take Carolina, and it's a small spread. I'll take them to cover.
Yeah.
And that's what you said as well, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Penn State, West Virginia. I think the better question, as opposed to Penn State being minus 20.5, is does Coach Brown last in Morgantown?
Man, I wanted this one to work. Again, I don't know that I've said it on here, but West Virginia, for whatever reason, is one of those schools that I just like. I want to see do well. I know what it actually stems from. It's obviously Pat White, Noel Devine. I mean, some of the freaks that they had with Rich Rod doing his thing there for a long time. I wanted Neil Brown to be the guy to restore that. Holgerson obviously let it slip through his fingertips. I mean, I don't know exactly what happened there other than a lot of ugly, but I don't know that Neil Brown's the guy. I don't have this trust that people are given to Penn State. You know, they talk about Drew Aller. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They talk about the running back room, and I know they've got some nice pieces there, and their defense has been solid for many years now, probably the entire Franklin era, and plus some, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that level of trust where Penn State might go win the Big Ten. I don't have that in them, but I do think I think they're good enough at home in week 1 with a West Virginia that's been so bad. I think they can win that game by 3 touchdowns and cover this. I don't want to see that happen. And again, I don't have that level of trust that others may have in Penn State, but I don't trust West Virginia as far as I could throw them.
Agreed. Too much going on in Morgantown. I'll take Penn State to cover as well. Josh Pate has Penn State in his playoff.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those, man. I don't hate it.
That's
bold. I don't hate it either. I'd be in fact, I'd be okay with it. But I don't see it as of before week 1 for myself.
That's fair. That's fair. I will say they have the roster to make the playoff. They have the roster.
They do.
And if they can split Michigan, Ohio State, win out the rest, we saw last year that's good enough to get in. So
it is.
If the Pac-12 beats up on one another, Clemson, Florida State beat up on one another, there's a real chance, right?
Yep.
LSU, Florida State. So I figured out what's going on with this neutral site stuff. They did a neutral site game in Louisiana. Now they're doing a neutral site game in Florida. Dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, so dumb.
Understand it. Don't understand it.
So dumb.
LSU minus 2.5. What you got?
I'm going Florida State outright here, man. I just Mason Smith is one thing, and yeah, that could absolutely bring LSU more together. They're probably already pretty together. They certainly should be ready to hit someone else and take out all of this heat, all that Cajun heat and weather out on some other team. And I like their team. I mean, I like them as a potential SEC West champion, but I like Florida State in this game. They're skill position guys that they have right there ready for Jordan Travis yet again. I like that. I like the running back room. I love the addition of Jaheim Bell. I mean, I know they won this game in a wild fashion last year. Really had a chance to run away with it before the game got crazy in the way that week 1 games can do. They're closer to home for them. They already won it further away last year. I just like their pieces. Not that I dislike LSU, but for whatever reason, I've got my mindset on the Noles in this one. And I don't quite understand this spread. I want to say it's been kind of flip-floppy. Like you said, LSU by 2.5 right now. I don't quite get it. I don't know what Vegas knows or sees right there, but I'm going to go with FSU outright. They win the game.
You don't lose a guy like Mason Smith and not feel the impact. I said this on the previous episode. Now they're down running back Emory. I forgot to mention Jaheim Bell in the solo recording that I did. I mean, just imagine the scenario. So typically when you have, this is what I was saying on the previous podcast. Typically when you have a receiver the size of a Johnny Wilson and a Keon Coleman, you do what they call a high-low. And it's a super simple concept. Safety high, corner low, right? You basically want to sandwich that receiver. Are you going to do it to both of them? And if you do, you leave the middle of the field wide open. Right.
Yeah.
So yesterday I threw up a scenario of 11 personnel, 1 by 1, right on either. Now let's look at another example. Let's go 2 by 2. Okay. Wilson and Keon Coleman on your far outside. Have them run 6-yard hitches. Have your inside guys run wheels. If they ever show a high-low, those wheels are open down the sideline.
Yep.
And if you can, sneak Bell right down the middle of the field. I just think they've got too much to deal with.
Yeah.
And if there was a game that you needed Mason Smith, this is it.
This is the one.
You don't have it. So I'm a little surprised that this spread is not on the other side and a much larger number. But I'm with you, man. I'm going to take Florida State. Take them outright. Going to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Here for the Noles, man. All right, starting to land this plane. Clemson and Duke sitting at Clemson 13.5. Clemson covers.
Yeah, Clemson covers. A lot of people want to say it may be ending or over for Dabo at
That's
Clemson.
ridiculous.
I'm not going to buy that with a guy like, with another true freshman coming in last year to kind of salvage their run and really keep their playoff hopes alive for much of a season. I like Klubnik. He's not going to be Trevor Lawrence, but I like Klubnik. He's the guy. He's the perfect Dabo Swinney college quarterback. I mean, he just is. Of course, he could. Maybe teams are more prepared for him now, and he's not as effective. But I like their talent. I know that Duke was better than expected last year. It doesn't matter for me. Clemson covers. They win that game on the road, really without a fight, I think.
Agreed. And now you pair Cade Klubnik with offensive coordinator Riley.
Oh,
he's going to be a head coach one day.
Yeah.
Going to have a head coaching job. I mean, the guy led TCU to a national championship. Let's be honest here, right? Turned Max Duggan. Still don't know how to say his name. Year removed. So they're going to start putting up points. My question with Clemson, looking at overall season, is are they going to have the star power in the receiving core to do some big things? Let's do one or two more things here before we call this quits. If you're betting, play some money on a game. Give me a game of why you would put money on it, and then tell me why.
Got you. Sports betting for me, when college football rolls around, is much like your expectation for your team. Hope springs eternal. You're going to win the Natty. You're going to be a millionaire after you bet the college football season. That's kind of my pie in the sky outlook. And when you asked me this question over text, 3 games really stood out to me. One, there's absolutely no chance to me that the favorite covers. The other, I do think they actually will cover. The third is Stanford traveling to Hawaii, excuse me. This started out around a touchdown or 8 points in Stanford's favor. I want to say, I could be wrong there. And up until last Saturday, when Hawaii gave Vanderbilt everything they wanted and then more, both teams tried to lose the game. I mean, it was wild. It was perfect week 0 action. Mm-hmm. I would have bet Stanford, and I would have put both vehicles on it, my house on it. I would have bet the world on it.
Okay.
And then again, the Rainbow Warriors gave Vandy a scare. So that line is now down to Stanford -3. Again, traveling to Hawaii. I could totally see Hawaii winning that game outright, but just because of the unknowns at Stanford, I'll stay away from that one. Especially since that line's trickled down to a field goal. The second one that I alluded to was Wisconsin by 28 points with Buffalo. If you'll remember, 28 points is the margin that Tennessee is favored over Virginia.
Yes.
So a little bit different situation here, but I actually think that Wisconsin could cover that. That's not going to be the one that I throw my house at. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lose a vehicle over it. The one that I might, though, you've got South Dakota, 28-point underdogs in Columbia, Missouri.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What from last season told you that Missouri could score 28 points in a game this year? I don't know what that is.
No comment.
No comment. I think I have said on here that this is probably Eli's last ride in Como. Give me South Dakota covering that 28. I'm surprised. This game, this should be one of those games that there's not a line on. It's an SEC team in South Dakota. Don't give us a betting line on that because you're just going to lose money. So, give me South Dakota. They're going to cover 28 points. Missouri is notable for almost losing a game like this every year if they don't actually lose the game. So I'm riding with South Dakota. Once again, they're going to cover 28 points against Missouri.
Okay. I have 2 games off the board, but I'm gonna tell you one that I didn't go with first. MTSU at Alabama. That is a 39-point spread. Uncertainty, right? At Bama. Do I think it can be done? Yes. Week 1, I don't know. Do I think that they can win by 35 and will? I do. Yeah. I think they will probably win by 38. That 39 is a big difference for me.
It's a big difference.
It's not where I'm gonna go though. Let's go Blue Raiders, baby. So I'm gonna ride with. You're gonna hate me. You're gonna revoke our friendship. I know how you feel about this. I know how you feel about this. It's big. Okay, it's real big.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Butch Jones to cover.
I'm not gonna revoke your friendship on that one. You're good. You're safe.
Oklahoma is 35.5-point favorites over Arkansas State, and I'm just not a believer yet in Oklahoma. I'm a believer in Brent Venables. I think it's going to come together. I don't know that it's going to come together game 1. There's going to be a massive jump between game 1 and game 2, as there always is with any football team. But almost Butch Jones does his Butch Jones things and only loses by 28.
Yeah, he covers 35.5. Right.
Goes to the locker room before the press, right, and says, "Y'all, we're trending in the right direction. The spread was 35. We lost by 31. We're in the right direction. Everybody doubted us, right?" Anyway,
and he's going to go hang a banner or put up a plaque on whatever the name of Arkansas State Stadium is.
Right, and then he's going to sit down and say, "I'll now answer any questions that you may have," which is what he did every freaking press conference while he was in Tennessee, like a straight robot. But anyway, so
many more words we could throw in there.
Yeah.
PG,
Arkansas State covers 35.5. All right, so here's how we're going to end. I'm going to give you a recap on some of the places that I landed yesterday as far as Heisman, playoff, and national champion. So let me see if I can get this pulled up real quick. I covered conference winners and all that stuff. We won't go down that route. So just a recap for the Heisman Trophy winner. If I'm picking, and I'm doing it today, I'm giving it to Marvin Harrison Jr. because we all know that the Heisman voting system is a joke. It's a fluke. They don't get this right. Last time they did it was 2020, Devontae Smith. Marvin Harrison will be the most outstanding player in the country because he arguably was.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Caleb Williams is elite and all the things, but I don't see them awarding to the same guy twice. They've proven themselves that they're not going to do that. Mine was Marvin Harrison Jr. My playoff was a little bit more tricky. I've got Georgia at the 1 seed. I got them going undefeated. I've got Michigan at the 2 seed with a win over Ohio State and beating Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game. My 3 seed is Florida State. Okay. Hopefully Clemson and Florida State don't change blows and Florida State can get in, My 4th seed, I could totally see Penn State doing this. I can be in agreement with Josh Pate, but until I see Penn State do it, I'm not going to go with them. I'm going to ride Ohio State at the 4 seed, similar to what basically took place last year. I think they're just going to show themselves to be elite, show themselves to be good enough. They named their starting quarterback. They know who the guy is, and I think that's a huge difference maker. Penn State has not done that yet.
Yeah.
I've got Georgia winning it all.
Yeah. We're going to be very similar on this. And in fact, I'm spending more time now trying to think of other teams that I could throw in there, other dudes, because I do think I've said there's going to be such an overcorrection for Marvin Harrison Jr. that he could have a pretty standard, a good year, but a pretty standard year. And I think he's going to win the Heisman. He's definitely going to win the Blitnikoff. Like that award's decided. They're going to overcorrect so hard on that.
Yeah.
But I truly do think that he will be the most outstanding, the most deserving player of the Heisman when it's over. I think my second candidate, and this would obviously require a lot from this dude, but my second candidate, because I'm with you, I don't really see Caleb Williams being handed the award twice. I don't know. He could be. If he does better things, then maybe he is. But I've got, and this is a bit of a dark horse, but it's Jaden Daniels, and that would require one loss or undefeated from LSU throughout the regular season. But again, I think they're capable of that. I think Florida State gets them here in week 1, but I'm going with Jaden Daniels as kind of my number 2 as a bit of a dark horse guy because I'm sold on Marvin Harrison Jr. He's fantastic, and that's who I think is going to win it.
Outstanding. Yes.
My playoff, is that next? My playoff?
Yep.
Okay. I'm with you. I think Georgia is your 1 seed as of today. I do think they'll probably win it all. I just don't – it's the unknowns right now. That's what gets me. I think they're your 1 seed and your national champion. I've also got Florida State. I've also got Michigan. And I'm down to like Ohio State. And I don't think the Pac-12 can produce better than a 1-loss team. That could be good enough for USC, Washington, or Oregon. I'm just not sold yet. I'm just not because they had such a great chance last year and did not get a team in there.
Well, they beat up on one another.
They did, and that's what I think is going to happen again. I think it's going to be a 3-way, ugly 1-2 loss situation between those 3 teams. So it's like Texas, Ohio State, Penn State. Ohio State feels like the most realistic to me, as long as Kyle McCord can do the things that have been done at Ohio State now for my lifetime. I think that's probably your most likely. And I would say like your 5 spot should be maybe the winner of Alabama, Texas. I mean, honestly, it could be like that. It could be LSU.
Texas can get in there.
Yeah.
Texas can get in there.
I think 4 through 7 this year, maybe even 8 or 9 is going to be as hard as it's been since the 4 team's been a thing.
Yeah. I totally agree. There's so many teams I think that you could put in that 3 and 4 spot. I really like Washington. I really like Oregon. They're going to trade blows more than likely. They don't play each other till like week 7, but neither one of them play anybody before that. Okay. Yep. Michael Penix is going to do stupid numbers. Bo Nix is going to put up numbers. I like Oregon, what they've done in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
I also like Florida State, what they've done in the portal. We spent time on them. I think Clemson is a real possibility.
Yeah.
With Riley now at the helm calling the plays, I think Texas is a real option. So it's really, really hard to pick. And I'm totally content and okay with being wrong, right?
Oh yeah.
Probably gonna be wrong, but at the end of the day, you got to pick somebody. Won't complain if it's not, Ohio State, if it is a Texas, but again, so many options. I do think that your number 1 seed is Georgia, and I think that your number 2 seed is the winner of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
After that, it's almost like a crapshoot.
Oh yeah,
just totally. A crapshoot.
Yeah, and I think it would Florida State or Clemson or someone else would have to go undefeated, run the table all the way through conference championships to ruffle that up.
Yeah. Yes. Which comes back to the conversation of BCS. Might not have been that far off because it kind of just keeps coming down to 2 teams. And this year, I think it's going to be Georgia, winner of the SEC, and whoever wins the Big Ten.
Yeah. And I'll say this too. If someone comes through the Big Ten, undefeated conference champions, that'll be really impressive this year because it looks like, again, 3 teams that we're looking at. I view it as more of a 2 than a 3-team race. But again, if Ohio State or Michigan or even Penn State comes through that thing undefeated, then props to them because I don't necessarily think that'll be the case as of today.
For sure. All right, man. Well, it's here. I can't believe it, man. I can't believe it. It's here.
Yeah.
What an off season it has been. I hope that you all have enjoyed it because this is the last kind of off season like this that we will ever have. Mm-hmm. Things are going to get bonkers going in to next season. Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC. USC and UCLA are already listed. If you go to the On3 website, they're already listed as Big Ten members. So you have to be very specific with the years that you look at when you're looking at classes and whatnot. Wild concept to think about. I want to touch on this before we go. Just want to, and maybe we'll do a whole episode on this one day, but if you are a traditionalist, if you want to preserve the rivalries of this sport, here's what you want. Put me on the record for saying this, all right? You want this to get bigger. You want the conferences to continue to expand. You want the Big Ten to go ahead and absorb Oregon State, Stanford. You want this to happen. I know that it sounds crazy, but if these conferences will continue to expand, if your SECs will go ahead and grab Oklahoma State, the Kansases, whatever, what you'll have is, I don't know, this word called divisions inside of these mega conferences, and your divisions will look like the conferences of old, where Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn, LSU, Florida, Georgia will all be playing one another, and Texas and Oklahoma State and Kansas State will all be playing one another. Your conference championship game might look a little bit different. The playoff is obviously going to look a little bit different. But if you want history to press on, rivalries to continue, you want this to get bigger. You do not, and I don't think it will. I don't think it's going to stay where it's at. You want it to get bigger, though. You want it to continue to expand. So at this point, here's hoping the NCAA implodes because they just prove time and time again to be an absolute joke. Let's secede from what is the union, otherwise known as the NCAA, get out from underneath them, establish our own things. I say ours if I'm a part of it. I'm not even a graduate of one of these schools, just a fan by I don't even think I had a choice. You get the point. You want this thing to continue to get bigger. Let it get bigger. Yeah. Anyway, week 1, maybe one day Florida and Utah will be a conference game. Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it would really get weird for those Pac-12 schools that are so far west. And for that matter, some of the ACC schools, though, a lot of them feel more natural than those Pac-12 schools. But it would really get weird. But I'm with you. The divisions are kind of like the silver lining of restoring any semblance of tradition and keeping games that we're basically required to see, like more of these Texas A&M's, Oklahoma States, Oklahoma. Yeah, all those. Give me all of them. That's
Yes.
I think the path you were describing is the way forward to get them.
Yes. Well, that's a wrap on today's episode. I hope you guys enjoy the weekend that is college football. It is on Saturday. It is on Sunday. It is on Monday. Enjoy it. Happy Labor Day to everyone. If you will do us a favor right now, if you're watching on YouTube, screenshot, highlight and circle the subscribe button and send it to somebody who is a college football fan. If you're listening on podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcast, all the places, screenshot, send it to a friend, said, hey, these are my friends. Give them a listen. Make sure you like and subscribe. We would really, really appreciate that. Again, really good things are coming down the pipeline for Pandemonium Reigns. We're super excited about it.
Yeah.
It felt like we weren't gaining traction, and then out of nowhere, like, whoa, what is happening? So super excited about that. We'll reveal that to you as soon as it is solidified. And so anyway, super excited. Thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for letting us tickle your ears. As always, I'm Dan. He's Mike. We love you guys. God bless. Go Vols.
Cheerio.
Pandemonium Reigns.